conduct a new national baseline survey on illicit small arms and light weapons 10 years after the 2016 exercise. Office of the National Security Advisor says updated and credible data is urgently needed to understand the current scale, distribution, sources and movement of illicit weapons and strengthen the fight against terrorism, banditry, communal violence and organized crime. Representing the National Security Advisor, Solomon Feintola, says the proliferation of illicit weapons remains a deadly national security threat, stressing that government interventions must be based on reliable evidence rather than estimates. According to him, lessons from the 2016 survey must be critically reviewed before the next exercise is identified to identify what worked, what failed, and what needs to be improved.
Proliferation of illicit small arms and light weapons is not an abstract policy concern for Nigeria. It is a daily threat to the safety of our dear citizens. It sustains banditry in our northwest, fuels communal and farmer-headed conflicts across the north central, arms criminal networks in our cities, and sustains the operational capacity of terrorists and insurgent groups in the northeast.
Beyond the immediate loss of lives and destruction of property, their widespread availability weakens social cohesion, undermines public safety, and poses a serious challenge to national development. Addressing this challenge effectively requires more than operational responses. It requires accurate knowledge of the nature, scale, distribution, sources, and drivers of illicit weapons proliferation.
I think we have been far less able to say with confidence and precision how many weapons, of what type, in whose hands, arriving by which routes, and with what effects, and on which communities in today's Nigeria.
Well, joining us on the news at 7 is CEO Security Watch Africa, Patrick Agbambu, to talk more on this development. Patrick, it's good to have you join us on the news at 7.
Much.
Now, 10 years after the 2016 baseline survey, why is it taking us this long to conduct another, knowing how much of a challenge this has become for us as a country? And why is it even imperative for us to have this data in the first place?
Yeah, thank you. It couldn't have come at a better time than now because we know that there have been a lot of activities going on in terms of control of criminal activities and the control of the proliferation of small arms and light weapons going on, especially with the establishment of the center being gazetted now a full-fledged agency to help in collecting the actual data. So the process of getting the center established is what took the initial time, but now it's established. So the center is now equipped to carry out the survey extensively. And I tell you that with the center spread with various covering various geopolitical zones and states, they are equipped and to be able to carry out this survey. It's the danger of illicit arms in Nigeria cannot be overstressed. It's an enabler that criminal groups and gangs have been using against the state and against innocent Nigerian citizens. So there is need for this census, first of all, find out within the government agencies, the arm-bearing government agencies, how many of these arms are legally acquired and assigned to who. There's need to ascertain that. Then you'll now be able to find out those you cannot call illicit and where, how do they come in. For every arm, there is a trace. Right. There's a batch number and figures that you can use to trace the origin and where it's coming from. All right. Other than maybe the locally manufactured ones.
Interesting. Now, you play in the space. Since 2016, when we did the baseline survey, have we really acted on the data we gathered at the time? And is Nigeria's illicit weapons problem an enforcement problem?
Yes, it's an enforcement problem. Enforcement in terms of prosecuting those found guilty, and also enforcement of the various security agencies assigned at the border areas, the entry areas into the country to actually checkmate the entry. Yes, I agree that some of these smugglers of these illicit firearms come through the unauthorized border areas, but majority of these arms are also being shipped from within the seas, through the seas and all that. Recently, kudos to the Nigerian Customs Service. The arrest that was made recently was a heartwarming one, because you can imagine the danger that quantum of arms could have done to the society. Particularly now that we are going down to the election campaign period and the election itself, there's need to increase the tempo of enforcement. It's a very, very important. Our problem has been enforcement in terms of controlling it and in terms of prosecution, and that is the major challenge.
But can we really achieve that without perhaps an inter-regional border control system and intelligence structure put in place, knowing that we have been finding it difficult to man our borders, and we cannot do this without the help of our brothers that sit close to us when we're talking about border control now? Shouldn't that be part of what we're looking at? Because even ECOWAS hinted this.
Yeah, certainly. That is a point to actually use in terms of control. We need our neighbors. Our neighbors will have so many porous borders and ungoverned areas where these things are smuggled into the country. We need to appeal to them and let them know that this is a common fight, not just a Nigerian issue, because these criminal groups, they cut across our border areas, and we need to be able to tighten up our coastline security also, tighten it up. Yes, air, not so much comes through the air, but in terms of the land and the sea, these are the major problem areas where these arms comes in. So we need to intensify our diplomatic missions to our neighbors, to plead to them, to let them understand the dangers this is posing, and to also strengthen our forces that are in charge of our coastline, to ensure that we do not allow these arms to come into our country.
Absolutely. CEO Security Watch Africa, Patrick Agbambu, thank you so much for your time on the news at 7.
Thank you so much.